Conservation Ag Update is brought to you by CultivAce. Welcome to Conservation Ag Update. I'm Noah Newman. Got our sleeves all rolled up here for harvest season. Overall, 23% of corn and soybeans have been harvested according to the latest USDA crop progress report. Question is, how did everything turn out after such a dry summer across much of the Corn Belt? Well, let's check in with longtime no-tiller Tony Peirick in Watertown, Wisconsin, where only 5% of corn has been harvested. So Tony's expecting a better than average crop. Now, that's really good news considering he didn't get any rain for almost 5 weeks after planting. He says Mother Nature cooperated late in the summer and early fall. Also, his cover crops rallied down the stretch, finally paying off after a disappointing start.
Well, this year being so dry, it just kind of stayed there and wasn't breaking down the soil. Nutrients were getting back to the corn. So it was a little frustrating early on, but it seems finishing out the season, it really kind of made a big difference. The covers and no-till, because it really kept the corn green in August, and then they fed off the nutrients that were finally breaking down, from the long dry summer. But we got a better crop than a lot of people expected right now. I've been hearing some of this stuff. There's more corn and beans out there than we thought we were going to have. So, but I think it'll show up too in the no-till and covers versus full tillage versus no-till. I think we're going to see it this fall more. The benefits of the no-till and covers, because we were able to at least, keep more moisture in the soil during the hot spell.
Tony says he'll know more in the next few weeks after a late harvest. The USDA reports 53% of corn and 52% of soybeans are in good to excellent condition. 18% of corn, meanwhile, is harvested in Minnesota, and that's where we're headed next for today's Farmer Feature, catching up with Mike Peterson, who no-tills soybeans and strip-tills corn across about 800 acres in Northfield. And he's doing something pretty unique with nitrogen tanks on his tractor. Check it out.
We try not to get too much nitrogen in the zone early on to get that zone a little too hot. And that kind of led us into needing a liquid system and a way to split apply our nitrogen in season. And it pretty much led us into mounting tanks on our tractor. So behind me here is a new rendition just this year. We made a little different nitrogen side dress bar, moved the tanks from the bar itself onto the tractor. So we had to come up with a way to work some side dressing saddle tanks mounts on our tractor while still being able to keep the front wheel assist tires at a 120-inch spacing, which we enjoy that spacing for stability, our ability to get through wetter areas. It seems to go through that a lot better. Holds better on the hills, but there's just no room for tanks. So they had to be alongside us. And with this system too, that enables us to free up the toolbar. Now I can mount a companion unit that'll be able to distribute cover crop seeds and things as we're going down the field applying nutrients.
And Mike has a sprayer bar that he uses to terminate his cover crops. It easily attaches to his tractor, but he says he still relies on a commercial applicator for primary weed control on his farm. Time now for the Cover Crop Connection. Mackane Vogel checks in today with some big news from independent research agronomist Jim Studi. Mackane, take it away.
Thanks, Noah. Mackane Vogel here for this week's Cover Crop Connection. Jim Studi, an independent research agronomist and farmer member of the Watershed Protection Committee of Racine County in Wisconsin, is helping to lead a long-term comparison of conventional tillage versus no-till and cover crops. After just 1 year, the study still has a long way to go, but initially, Studi is seeing a 26.3 bushel per acre yield advantage with conventional. And most importantly, Studi says what he thinks they can do next year to shift those results.
We found the answer in the fall after harvest when we were characterizing our biomass yield. So in this trial, we're looking at all the carbon inputs, both above ground and also below ground. That means digging roots. So we dug roots, and what we have here is an image of roots on this side from the conventional, and on this side is regenerative. Now there's a slight problem with this photograph. I moved the roots to get better lighting, but I didn't move the scale. So the scale would be up here. So where we're seeing this cutoff in the roots is somewhere between 5.5 and 6 inches. Obviously we had compaction in a layer there that prevented the roots from penetrating to get moisture and also nutrients. And it's a combination of the two. And we can say that based on some of the diagnostic nitrogen testing that we did. So we did basal stalk testing, which is where after physiological maturity, so you've gotten all the yield you're ever going to get, you take the bottom foot of the corn stalk, cut above, just above the crown, and then the foot beyond that, and you analyze it for nitrate nitrogen. You need to have nitrate nitrogen there because it's mobile in a plant, and until the plant shuts down, that nitrate is going up to the kernels to help fill the kernels in metabolism. It's a well-calibrated test. When we look at our values, we see that in conventional, we were in a category that we would call sufficient. For the regenerative system, we were deficient. So that tells us we were starved for nutrients. And then when we do a post-mortem on post-harvest soil profile nitrate, so this is nitrogen that's left over from the previous season, and it's a combination of what we applied for the crop as well as what the soil gave up in the form of ammonium. This is what's left over, and we see a 40-pound difference between the two of them, and there's 40 pounds more in the regenerative plot. So what that tells us is the regen plots weren't as effective as taking up the nitrogen, both inherent in the system as well as what we applied. So that's why we have the yield difference. So that's the bad news. Our strategy for this year, we're in soybeans this year. As soon as we get the crop off, as soon as we get our sampling done, we are going to plant cereal rye as a cover crop. We're going to plant it heavier than what we planted last year, and hopefully with the earlier planting, we're going to get a lot more root action. Our intent next year is to plant grain so we can maximize the root growth to help break up that compacted layer.
Stay tuned for more results as the study collects more data over the next growing season. For this week's Cover Crop Connection, I'm Mackane Vogel. Back to you, Noah.
Good stuff there. Thank you very much, Mackane. All right, let's talk cutting-edge technology now. This week, we're going ahead of the curve with Verdant Robotics. The company is generating lots of buzz with its smart sprayer that uses AI to target weeds and reduce chemical use by up to 96%. Director of Field Operations, Brad Abraham, gives us a peek underneath the hood.
So these right here are sprayers. These sprayers are the sprayers that are going to be spraying with that millimeter type accuracy. When they're spraying, they're about the diameter of a pinky finger. We have 2 light fixtures that go with every spray box. We have 6 spray boxes. This could cover 20 feet. We also have a 40-foot implement that attaches on the side. So that way, as we get across more acreage or we get across bigger farms, we can get our distance longer to cover more acreage quicker. They spray herbicide right now, but the robots don't care whether it's herbicide or if it's fungicide or insecticide or whatever it is. We could do the same thing for the plant as we're doing for the weed itself. The biggest thing is molecules on target. And what we're doing is we're doubling, if not tripling, our molecules on target by being so precise with our spray. So we could cut our percentages on our mixes down by, half, if not 3/4 of where they're at on the conventional side right now.
The machine has been working mainly in specialty crops, but Verdant plans to expand to broadacre organic crops and eventually corn and soybean acres down the line. And let's wrap things up with our photo of the week, and this one kind of comes out of left field. Ever see a carrot that's almost triple the size of a Coke can? Here you go. Landlover shared these photos on X, formerly known as Twitter. Massive carrots that were strip-tilled with a 27-row, 20-inch Landlover strip-till bar in the spring right before planting. Impressive stuff. Strip-tilled carrots. You never know what you're going to see here on Conservation Ag Update. If you have a photo, video, or story idea you'd like to see here on the program, shoot me an email, newman@lespub.com. That'll do it for this week. Thanks for spending part of your busy day with us here on Conservation Ag Update. I'm Noah Newman. See you next time.